Happy Father's Day to everyone. I was thinking about the service and doing the pre-meditation, and I was thinking that I wanted to do something surrounding masculine energy. And so when I was just laying in bed yesterday and doing some spiritual breathing work, what occurred to me was this idea of surrender. And yet, when we look at surrender traditionally, and when we look at the yin and the yang, we see that surrender is really a feminine energy, and whereas strength is considered the masculine energy. And so as I was laying there and I was thinking of the things that I wanted to surrender, it occurred to me that there was strength in surrendering. And what brought all this about, this idea of surrender and this spiritual practice, is something that Bob Simon actually sings a song about, that he put into words from a quote from the yogi Krishnamacharya about God approaching. And it goes like this. So I also want you to understand about when I'm talking about God approaching, I'm talking about God that is within. It's not something that we're seeking outside of ourselves, but it is something that is within us. So what came to me was to breathe in, God approaches, hold it, and God remains. Breathe out, approach God, hold it, surrender. I invite you to close your eyes and do this breathing practice with me right now. Breathe in, God approaches. Hold it, and God remains. Breathe out, approach God. Hold it, surrender. Breathe in, God approaches. Hold it, and God remains. Breathe out, approach God. Hold it, surrender. Breathe in, love approaches. Hold it, and love remains. Breathe out, approach love. Hold it, surrender. Breathe in, love approaches. Hold it, and love remains. Happy Father's Day. Breathe out, approach love. Hold it, surrender. So some of the things that have been coming up for me lately about surrendering into is the things that are happening from a business perspective. So when I think of challenges or ideas of lack, then I breathe in and I surrender to this idea that God is living and moving and having its being through me, those that I'm working with, all the customers. It's all God. So I surrender into this. And I breathe in to some of the anger and the frustration and the hatred that we're seeing in the world today. And I surrender, knowing that God is love, and knowing that love is all there is, and that is transformation. So I surrender. Breathing in to sadness and grief and loss of loved ones. Surrendering to knowing that we are infinite, eternal beings. That this experience, that this is one experience in eternity, and that we remain. We are always God. We are always that spirit, that form. So I breathe in to the strength of surrendering. I breathe in. When I feel any sense of loss or that I can be lost, to not knowing, to feeling clouded or foggy, thinking that I don't know what to do. And I breathe in as God approaches. I hold it, and God remains. I breathe out, approach God, and I hold it. And in strength, I surrender. I surrender to the beauty and the love and the joy and the qualities that I associate with God, with Spirit, whatever name you give it, this cosmic energy, this cosmic force, this cosmic power is all there is. And when we breathe in consciously, we breathe into this awareness that there's nothing that we have to do, that we always and already are everything. We are God informed. We are the way that God shows up in this world. And when something is not working out right, we simply breathe in and surrender time and time again. And feel the power of that, not as a resignation, because in my past I've thought of surrender as a giving up, as some sort of defeat. But this kind of spiritual surrender is really a strength and a power that we all can call on, that we all use. Through any pain and suffering, we surrender into the beingness that God is all life, and that it's expressing through each one of us. That we are alive with this energy, and each and every moment we call on it, bring it into conscious awareness, that we are changing our individual consciousness, and we are changing the collective consciousness. As we do this work, as we listen, and we learn, and we hear from others of their experiences, our Black brothers and sisters, in the struggle for equality, as it's something that we hold as one of our highest tenets of a world that works for all. We breathe in, and as we surrender to everything being revealed, it is calling us to go higher and deeper, and to know the truth of our being and everyone around us. To know that we're all the magnificence that is God expressing, that God has cast its magnificence, its image into all life, into each one of us. And each one of us is expressing this beauty, this joy, this power, this wisdom, this abundance and prosperity. So I welcome you just to take a few moments doing this breath work and this breathing in exercise to anything that may be weighing heavy on you right now, anything that's coming up from the past, any worries, and just breathe in and take a couple moments to just surrender into the sweetness and the allness that is the oneness of Spirit, God, life. Breathe in, God approaches. Hold it, and God remains. Breathe out, approach God. Hold it, surrender. So today we will honor our fathers and our father figures, those who nourished and nurtured us and were there and loved and supported us, whether that's your own father or a father figure or someone who mentored you. And this day has special significance for me because my father actually passed on Father's Day. And today, my family will be going to a viewing for a best friend of my son who's taken his own life. And so I will need to remember to surrender. Surrender into the goodness that is God, that is always present for me in each breath. As Reverend Raymont says, as we anchor into the breath, as we anchor into the breath and we surrender, we can feel that light and that love that was in us, that is within us, that it expresses as us and through us in each moment. Each breath, a gift to this life, a gift to be together, a gift to share, to care, to love, to learn, to know what it is ours to do. Surrendering into the goodness of life, surrendering to the greatness of each one of us, to the perfection and the wholeness that we are. Surrendering into this truth. Breathing in. Accepting ourselves as love. Accepting ourselves as beauty, light, joy, love, laughter, touch, smiles, humor. We are all this and so much more. We are the divine expression and we are always connected. There's never any separation. Breathing in, I surrender. Breathing in, I know that that which Spirit is always with me. Breathing in, I trust in the goodness and the light that is God, that never leaves me. Breathing into the oneness that is showing up today through this service, through this connection, through all of us, through this virtual meeting coming together, sharing this time in recognition of each other, in recognition of the God within, celebrating this. Celebrating the strength to surrender. We are made whole in this moment. So I give gratitude for this day. I give gratitude for this time to come together in this meditation and this prayer work into this glorious life, to the wonderment of nature unfolding, always revealing and showing us the glory that is God. Coming together in the recognition of the beauty and the power of our diversity in the way that God shows up in such a myriad of fashion. And it's all God, it's all beautiful, it's all on purpose. We are the ones that we've been waiting for. We are here by design and on purpose. So I give gratitude, I give thanks, and I come back to my breath work, breathing in, knowing God approaches. Hold it, and God remains. Breathe out. Approach God. Hold it. Surrender. So I give thanks for this, releasing this idea, surrendering into the strength, honoring this day. We're grateful for all that are here. In peace and love. Thank you. Bless you. Amen. Ashe. And so it is.
One life living is you and me. One light shining is you and me. One love loving is you and me. 'Cause God is all there is. One love living is you and me. One light shining is you and me. One love loving is you and me. 'Cause God is all there is. I'm shining from the inside out. I'm so happy. I just want to shout. One life living is you and me. One light shining is you and me. One love loving is you and me. 'Cause God is all there is. One life living is you and me. One light shining is you and me. One life living is you and me. 'Cause God is all there is. I'm shining from the inside out. I'm so happy. I just want to shout. One life living is you and me. One light shining is you and me. One love loving is you and me. 'Cause God is all there is. One life living is you and me. One light shining is you and me. One love loving is you and me. 'Cause God is all there is. I'm shining from the inside out. I'm so happy. I just want to shout. One life living is you and me. One light shining is you and me. One love loving is you and me. 'Cause God is all there is. One life living is you and me. One light shining is you and me. One love loving is you and me. 'Cause God is all there is. One life, one love, one love. 'Cause God is all there is. I'm shining from the inside out. I'm so happy. I just want to shout. One life living is you and me. One light shining is you and me. One love loving is you and me. 'Cause God is all there is. One love living is you and me. One light shining is you and me. One life loving is you and me. 'Cause God is all there is. One life, one life, one love. One life, one life, one love. One life, one life, one love. 'Cause God is all there is. One life, one life, one love. One life, one life, one love. One life, one life, one love. 'Cause God is all there is.
Thank you, Deletta. Good morning. I always have to throw a little song in there after the musician
No, you don't have to.
to show that I have the same skills and talents.
No. Let the professionals do what the professionals know how to do.
Good morning, all. Good morning, all. And good morning, all. Woo! All right. So I would like to welcome all of you to the Center for Spiritual Living Greater Baltimore's virtual service. My name is Tracy Rhymes, and I am your host for today. Our awesome speaker for today is our own Senior Minister, Reverend Dr. Raymont Anderson. He will deliver a powerhouse message today. Sue Monahan, one of the hardest working women in CSL who led the pre-service meditation, is our practitioner on duty. And that lovely voice you just heard, Deletta Gillespie, is our guest musician. And our amazing and awesome and hard-working sign language interpreters are Faith Moore and Sonia Chanis. They are assisting with making this service open, inviting, and accessible to the deaf community. Now, before Sue gives our opening prayer, let me share a little bit about her. Sue Monahan is a science of mind practitioner, wife, mother of two, and business professional who owns a warehouse and transportation company serving customers that use the Port of Baltimore. Sue and her husband Paul have a vacation property in West Virginia that overlooks the Potomac River, where they spend their free time renovating, boating, surrounded and immersed in nature. Sue has been a Science of Mind practitioner for 7 years and studied Science of Mind principles for 17 years. Sue is excited about the creative potential that is CSL Greater Baltimore, and she is devoted to the expansion of the center and of the teaching in the Greater Baltimore area, knowing that there is only one made manifest throughout all of life. We are this magnificence. We are changing the individual and collective consciousness by recognizing what it truly means to have a world that works for all. We are the ones that we have been waiting for. I give you Sue Monahan for the opening prayer.
Thank you, Tracy. Good morning again. So just taking a moment to recognize wherever you are in this moment is sacred space. And opening ourselves up to the divine, knowing and recognizing that there's only one life, and that is God, and it is unfolding for each one of us. We are the joy and the love that is God expressing. And I'm grateful for the Center for Spiritual Living that gives us an opportunity to come together and to celebrate the diversity and the wonderment and the way that God shows up in all forms. We are this magnificence. We recognize this. We breathe this in. We accept this. We celebrate this. We give thanks for this day, for coming to be live, to the service, to hear the wonderful music of Deletta Gillespie, to hear our senior minister, Reverend Raymont Anderson, for our language interpreters, Faith and Sonia, for our hostess, Tracy, and for Frank and Jim, who take care of everything going on in the background. I'm so grateful for this. I'm grateful to share this time. I'm grateful for this awakening that's going on right now. It's all God. It's all good. Amen. And so it is.
And so it is. Thank you, Sue. So now we will honor the world religions. One tree, many branches. One mountain, many paths. One world, many religions and spiritual traditions. With the lighting of these candles on the first Sunday of each month, we not only honor each person on their select path, but we also bless them and recognize the light, the love, and the life-affirming nature of spirit as it shows itself in each path, in each practice, and in each person. Happy Father's Day! I didn't sing, I just kind of yelled that out. If y'all could only see this man's face. Okay, to each and every one of you fathers, grandfathers, pop-pops, godfathers, uncles, father figures, and all others filling that role, that important role. I wish you a happy Father's Day. You know, a lot of times people make this big thing about Mother's Day, but I think a big thing should be done about Father's Day, because that's a very, very important role. So just remember that, folks.
Just remember that, Tracy.
You said you're not my father. So.
I'm not your father, but I'm a father figure. I'm your big brother. I want gifts. I'm your big brother. I want gifts.
Okay, your gift is happy.
And I'm moving to the next slide.
Okay, so to all of you, you make it an awesome and amazing day. You deserve it. So, we got a few announcements for you. This coming week, the regularly scheduled Wednesday evening spiritual tapas got a little twist. It will be adjusted due to a collaboration with Faith Communities of Baltimore with Pride as part of a 10-day virtual Pride event. You can contact Reverend Dr. Ray for more information. Thursday night study group, and I've heard it's been some stuff going on there. The Thursday night study group is facilitated by licensed practitioner Dr. Ronnie Ellington. This is a perfect opportunity to dive deeper, and I'm told they do some deep diving. You dive deeper into the Sunday messages delivered by Reverend Dr. Ray and others. For more information, you can contact Dr. Ronnie at sisterroni@aol.com. You put in the subject CSL study group. That way she'll definitely be able to identify you, and as always, love offerings are appreciated. So, Thursday night, join a Facebook Live event, episode 2 of Lifeline, titled Living Abundantly at This Time. Special guest, ready for it? Reverend Dr. Raymont Anderson, along with Temple of Light Center for Spiritual Living, Kingston, Jamaica. Pastor Reverend John Scott and moderator, the awesome Sandra Cooper, as they will be discussing how to live abundantly at this time, despite the feeling of lack and scarcity. You can watch and join in the Q&A by going to www.facebook.com/Temple of Light CSL. Gave you a moment to get that. All right, Membership is belonging, connection, and spiritual growth. Any time is a good time to become a member, or perhaps you want to renew your current membership. Guess what? You can do this virtually. The Discovery class is now available virtually. Contact us at
ORG.
for more information. You got that?
.org.
There you go. It's important that you know that it's ORG. Now, if you have not, today is your day to do this. After service, not during, because we want you to pay attention. Sign up for CSL Greater Baltimore's newsletter. Here's the reason why. It's so you can stay informed about classes, gatherings, virtual meetings, and other life-changing happenings in your CSL Greater Baltimore community. Visit www.cslgreaterbaltimore, oh, he's going to leave me hanging now, .org for more information and to sign up today, for all of you who do not receive the newsletter. All right, you know what to do. Say it with me. Prayer
works.
One more time.
Prayer works. It works when you work it.
It works when you work it. Okay, we're not going to say. Okay, we're moving on. We, as a community, continue to treat and move our feet, knowing the truth for everyone around the planet. Practitioners, they hear me. They are available after today's service, and prayer requests can be sent at any time to info@cslgreaterbaltimore.org. There we go. So, our musical guest is Deletta Gillespie. Deletta is a multidisciplinary teaching and performing artist, playwright, singer, songwriter, and recording artist. Her stage debut came in her mother's nightclub at age 6. And she's been on and around the stage ever since. Her roles back and off stage include writer, director, stage manager, and production assistant. While earning an MFA in theater arts at Towson University, Deletta discovered a passion for creating performance and programs that inspire and evoke courageous conversations and challenging issues. There's so much more that I could tell you about Deletta and all that she's doing, but I'm going to allow you to go check out her website at DELETTILLESPIE.com. I give you Deletta.
Good morning again, everybody.
Good morning.
shifting the atmosphere. Our prayers and our actions are shifting the atmosphere. Our love and our kindness is healing the atmosphere. Our love and our kindness is healing the atmosphere. Our words and our prayers, they are moving, shifting the atmosphere. Our words, our prayers are healing the atmosphere. We're healing, we're healing, we're healing the atmosphere. We're healing, we are healing, we are healing the atmosphere.
Ditto.
Wow.
Ditto.
Deletta, can you hear me? Okay, I'm gonna send you an email. I want a copy of that song. I'm gonna do a collaboration where I sign it and you sing it, and yeah. So be ready.
Okay, it's not an original,
That's fine.
but you know, I always take it and give it that new thought twist. So
Yeah, because I love you. I love the way you sing it.
Thank you.
Thank you.
And so, because you can't see him, this is what he looks like over there. This is how big his grin is on his face. He's glowing. Okay. Thank you again, Deletta, for that beautiful selection. Now, Sue will lead us in a spiritual practice.
Morning. I received this message that Reverend Raymont had sent out from the spiritual leader of the Center for Spiritual Living. And I decided that that was something that I wanted to read as a spiritual practice today. So it's his message, followed by a quote from Ernest Holmes that he has at the end. And then we'll just go into a moment of brief silence and end with the spiritual mind treatment. It's titled Black Lives Matter, a message from Reverend Dr. Edward Villon, spiritual leader. Centers for Spiritual Living stands with people all around the world who are advocating for justice, equity, inclusion, and peace. We are motivated by our vision of a world that works for everyone, and therefore, we affirm with the people of the world that Black lives matter. Not only do Black lives matter, but according to our teaching, they are sacred. We have confidence that the momentum of support from individuals, along with spiritual and secular organizations, is more than a fleeting moment, but rather the heralding of lasting change. We have confidence that a new era of willingness to engage in the inner work that leads to the end of racism in our world has begun. We have confidence that the underlying cry of our global heart, that Black Lives Matter, has struck a note of urgency in all who will hear it. And above all, we have confidence that the living Spirit Almighty is working through us to bring our stated belief in oneness into form in the social, political, judicial, spiritual, and economic realms, and importantly, in our hearts. The recent tragic loss of Black lives in the United States and other countries due to police violence and the myriad inequalities that have resurfaced have revealed that our world is still catching up to the vision of a world that works for everyone. We have been called to be brave enough to examine how society can be put out of step with its values and how we, as individuals, can be out of step with our spiritual values. One of our values in Centers for Spiritual Living is love, as the self-givingness of the divine to all creation, expressing through us as compassion, caring, mutual respect, and kindness. Our organization's purpose is to awaken humanity to its spiritual magnificence. We invite you to stand with the Center of Spiritual Living and the people of the world by affirming with us that Black Lives Matter, so that we may demonstrate the values of our teaching and embrace the emerging universal consciousness of oneness. This is the end of his message. Now I'll quote from Dr. Ernest Holmes from Help for Today. Let us therefore light the candle of love, human kindness, forgiveness, and understanding in our soul, and let it shine brightly. Let us not peer into the darkness, troubled and concerned, because it is so foreboding and unknown. Rather, let us remain steadfast in the radiance of that spiritual light of truth within us. Let us stand guard so that the winds of malice, cross purposes, ignorance, or misunderstanding will not blow out the light. Let us so live each day that the light from our candle of spiritual knowledge will forever be clear and understood, not only by ourselves, but by all with whom we come into contact. So this is what I know. I know that there's one life, that it's God, that we're all here on purpose. We're all here to celebrate the way God shows up, the diversity of God, and all sizes, shapes, colors, and genders. We are it. We are the face of God. We are the beauty of God. And as we speak this idea that Black Lives Matter, and only when we come to this full understanding that Black Lives Matter will we be able to say that all lives matter and that we have a world that works for all. We are this spiritual magnificence. The Center for Spiritual Living, Greater Baltimore, is bringing forth this idea and living this and walking this and being this. We are listening and learning what is ours to do, and we are celebrating our diversity now. I'm so grateful for the center, so grateful to be able to come together, so grateful to be of service and those that are in service. Grateful for this day, knowing that we are the ones that we've been seeking and waiting for. It's all God, it's all good. Amen. And so it is.
Thank you, Sue. So, Thank you, Sue. So, now it's time. Reverend Dr. Raymont Anderson, Senior Minister, CSL Greater Baltimore, has frequently been referred to as a Renaissance man. One look at his resume and the reason becomes clear. As a lifelong learner with a passion for self-development, personal transformation, transmutation, and self-awakening, he lives his bliss as a teacher, mentor, speaker, minister, and so much more. His mission is to live, move, and be an active, which is an acronym, member of society who serves to educate, now I messed up the word. Elucidate, emancipate, awaken, and empower people and communities. Now, active stands for authentic, compassionate, transparent, inspired, vibrant, and empowered. I give you Reverend Dr. Ray. I don't have the rights to that song.
I thought you leave the music to the professionals. That's why we have the letter here.
Can't hear you.
Just stop.
I can't hear you. What you say?
Sue, can we take a moment and pray for Tracy? Okay, so here we go. So y'all got notebooks and pens and pencils and stuff in hand, because it's going to be an interesting ride, but let's go. So, let's start with William James Tom says, "Be careful how you live. You may be the only Bible that some person ever reads." Got that? Okay.
Got that.
We often say words have power. You have the power of life and death in your tongue. In the beginning was the Word, etc. And yet, are we really as mindful with our communication as we could be in order to live in a way that is more aligned, more coherent, and more consciously in the act of creating? What are the benefits of communicating mindfully? Are we willing to change what needs to be changed in order to do so? So the theme originally was mindful speech. And we're going to get into it a little bit later in terms of why I changed this. But the idea is basically that everything that we do communicates. Speech is only one small way that we communicate. If we focus on all of the ways that we are conveying a message, keeping in mind, what did William say? You may be the only Bible as a document, but he is saying that as a living version, as a living expression of this document, you may be the only one that someone ever reads, someone ever sees, someone ever experiences. How mindful are we of what we're communicating to anybody at any given moment? Yesterday, a group of us got together for a discussion of the movie Frank vs. God. And one of the things that came up both in the discussion and in the movie was this idea that God is omnipotent, all-powerful, omnipresent, everywhere present, and omniscient, all-knowing. And it came up in the court case where it was, well, God, if God is everything, omniscient, etc., omnipresent, etc., then God must already be here, and if God is already here, then God is always listening. That was one of the things that came up. God is always listening. But what we know with this teaching, metaphysically, then it must also stand to reason that God is always speaking. God is always communicating. In the breeze that blows on our face, God is communicating. In the red of a rose, God is communicating. In the color purple, Shug makes a reference to the color purple in the field. And she doesn't say it quite this way, but the feeling tone I got was she was saying that this is an expression of God communicating itself to itself. And she said it must piss God off when we don't recognize this. Like it must make God angry to not recognize the beauty and grandeur. So let's just pause for a moment and take in this idea that that which God is, that which Spirit is always communicating to itself, through itself, as itself, by itself, in all ways and all forms. So this being the third week of June, week number 1, we had mindful breathing. Week number 2, mindful intentions, and today, mindful communication. And if you sort of follow along, it's almost like following the path of the chakras. It's like mindful breathe to ground yourself and anchor into the truth. Mindful intentions, recognizing as Dr. Ronnie so eloquently educated us about, is you're not just setting an intention. What you are is an intention. You are a lived intention. And then today, mindful communication, recognizing that it's not just what comes out of our mouths, but everything that we do is communicated. Ernest Holmes says in The Science of Mind, the definitive edition, God is intelligent mind and spirit, and there is a direct response from this universal intelligence to our intelligence. If we ask for bread, we shall not receive a stone. We are told we must ask believing if we are to receive. Here again, we are meeting the law of cause and effect in the teachings of Jesus. Prayer is a mental as well as a spiritual function of intelligence. It is a certain manner of approach to the spirit, a conscious act of the mind, a concrete experience of the knowing faculty. Prayer should be direct and specific and should always be accompanied by a positive receptivity. God cannot answer prayers which have no meaning. Now let's just pause and let that sink in, because there's a little bit of anthropomorphism in there, and let that fade away, let that dissipate. And let's anchor into this idea that how we communicate, how we step into being an intention, how we let Spirit, let God, and we surrender to it breathing itself as us. All of this serves in the process of cause and effect, the law of circulation. How are we engaged in this process? How are we blocking or prohibiting the process? Do we pray, but are we not in a state of receptivity? Do we have a clear, crystal clear understanding of what we are asking for? Asking, recognizing that we're not asking for, but we are declaring what is true already. We are declaring it. We are giving gratitude for it before we physically, tangibly have it. Are we communicating? Not just to Spirit, but what are we communicating as Spirit? Well, let's pause for a moment and think about, how do you communicate? So if I were to ask you in what ways, what are you laughing about, Tracy?
I just said,
If I were to ask you, how do you communicate? In what ways do you communicate? I'm sure you could come up with a more exhaustive list than this. But we communicate verbally. We communicate via American Sign Language, as well as other signed languages around the world. We communicate through email and text, through all the various forms of social media. We communicate in a lot of ways. I could even add on there, we communicate through music. We communicate through clothing. We communicate through the manner in which we decorate our homes or our apartments. Everything that we are is communicating something in some way, shape, or form. The question is, how mindful of your communication are you? Do you know what it is that your home says about you? Do you know what it is that your clothing or way of showing up in clothing, making sure you're showing up in clothing, at least the service.
At least for you.
Yes. But what is what you're wearing? What is it communicating about you? Why did you select that color versus another color? What are you communicating when you text to someone? Are you mindfully sure that what you are texting doesn't convey tone? How mindful of your communication are you? So I just want to pause for a moment and talk a little bit about some of the things that I learned about communication through the martial arts, public speaking, being a public school teacher, acting and performing, being an interpreter, being a visual artist, and from fatherhood. Because the funny thing, keep in mind that every aspect of ourselves is an aspect of the divine. And if everything that we are is an aspect of the divine, coalescing itself in this physical expression, then everything we do is communicating something about us, something about spirit, something about something. So what I specifically learned from martial arts is this idea of the manner in which you stand is conveying a certain energy. If you are standing in cat stance, then you are encouraged to, you are required to take on the energy of whatever the cat is. If it's a tiger stance, then you are to embody the energy of tiger. If it is panther, then you are to take on the energy of panther. If it's dragon, then you take on the spirit and the energy of dragon. So even when not in a specific stance, what is the energy? What is the groundedness? What is the state of that I'm standing in, that I'm anchored in? Because whatever I am standing as a martial artist, how I stand tells a potential thief, am I the perfect victim? Am I the perfect person to rob? Whereas if I'm standing in a way, then they're going to look at me and say, yeah, not this person. So martial arts taught me to have a certain level of confidence that it is exuded in how I present myself, even when not, because a martial artist is a martial artist even outside of the dojo. From acting, public speaking, and being a public school teacher, that the manner in which, first acting, the manner in which the character moves is moved by me, right? So if I'm Don Quixote de la Mancha, how I breathe life into that character is based upon what I am physically communicating about the character. So I am giving him life on the stage. Am I mindful of what my position, my stance? If Don Quixote de la Mancha is supposed to be an elderly, senile man who is wealthy but thinks he's a knight, then how do I position myself to carry this idea? Physically. Before I ever say any lines, the audience should get a feel for the character by the manner in which I stand, the manner in which I move across the stage. This is no different than public speaking. How do I present and communicate my message? As a public school teacher, children pick up on our vibes. If I am afraid of my students, they know. They smell the fear. But if I love them and I am there for them and I am their greatest cheerleader, they will also feel that simply by the way I show up to them. But if I don't know and I only think of myself as being there simply to teach, which as Jane Elliott said, a teacher simply indoctrinates. An educator enlightens and inspires and brings forth awareness and knowledge. So the manner in which I show up in the classroom, the manner in which I show up in the hallway is educating something to my students. As a sign language interpreter and an ASL performing artist, the manner in which I use the language communicates. There are many deaf people who have seen some of these photos, and they could see the emotion, they could feel the tone. They knew what was being said simply because of the manner in which I was expressing it in that moment. But there are many interpreters who just go about the motions, conveying words, not conveying timbre, not conveying emotion, not conveying meaning. It's just words. So I learned that it's more than just about the words I sign. It's about the manner in which I sign them. That communication is more than what my hands do. Communication is what my body does. As an artist, how I draw and paint conveys my emotions. And even though the actual image is what the image is, the emotion that I am putting forth from myself communicates through. Is there sadness? Is there joy? Is there anger? If I'm angry, then I can paint or draw a photo or draw a picture of Spider-Man railing at the heavens because he's angry. And I can express my anger through him. If there's something about spiritual alignment, then I can draw an indigenous shaman. So how am I communicating and expressing myself through my arts? And both from my father and as a father, what is it that I'm communicating to my children, and what was my father communicating to me? With every word that was spoken, every side-eyed glance, every form of encouragement that wasn't spoken but was felt. How mindful can I be to be sure that when I am educating my children, that I am saying what I'm saying without discouraging them. That I am lifting them up even when encouraging them not to do what they're getting ready to do. But I don't want to kill their dreams, of course, but I do want to convey the caution that I may want to communicate to them. Right? So just being mindful and aware that every way that we show up, every single way that we show up, and everywhere that we show up, we're communicating something. So the moral of the story is, communication is always occurring. So if I were to ask you, so what are you saying? What are you always saying? And ultimately, not just what are you always saying, but what are you always saying about a world that works for all? If that's the vision of CSL, and we are in alignment with CSL, what are you saying in the manner in which you go grocery shopping? What are you saying about a world that works for all? When you are going to a practitioner, what are you saying about a world that works for all? When you are going out on a date, what are you saying? When you are in a meeting, what are you saying? What are you saying about a world that works for all? So right now, this month, June, is Pride Month. So when we think about pride for the LGBTQ plus community, what are we as a center communicating? What are we as a movement communicating? What are we as individuals communicating about a world that works for all for members of the LGBTQ plus community? When we are watching protests, revolutionary acts of disobedience, what are we saying in our own minds, in our own prayers, in our own conversations at the dinner table about people who are experiencing racism, sexism, homophobia, Islamophobia? Is what we're communicating a form of spiritual bypass or malpractice? Or are we communicating on some level we understand the idea that together we rise? There is only one, that one is God, but that one is showing itself in, through, and as the trillions of beings on planet Earth. Do we communicate an understanding and acknowledgement of that? Do we communicate that we are a center and a community that welcomes all sizes, all colors, all cultures, all sexes, all beliefs? That we, as a community, as a center, as a movement, recognize all religions, all ages, all types, all people. Yesterday I was in a group and it came up in a conversation where one of the people in the group shared this idea that she had gone somewhere that said they welcomed all people, and yet when she was there, people made fun of Catholicism. How do you say that you welcome all religions, all people, all beliefs, but now you are jesting about, making fun of, making light of those nuns, Pope John Paul, Are you communicating some level of being out of alignment? Are you communicating some level of, I say this, but I don't believe it? And understand, and make no mistake about this, that there are times when we think we're not communicating, and our silence is betrayal. Understand that there comes a time when silence is betrayal. That sometimes we must speak up. We must speak out. We must speak on a certain thing, an issue, and a topic. Ralph Waldo Emerson said, "What you do speaks so loudly that I cannot hear what you're saying." What you do speaks so loudly, I can't hear what you're saying. What you're saying is, we love all people. We welcome all beliefs. We welcome all religions. We support, we love, we invite, we include. But what you do speaks so loudly, I can't hear what you're saying. Are we walking the walk and showing ourselves, communicating this level of awareness and alignment in what we say, what we do, and how we are being? James Baldwin said, I can't believe what you say because I see what you do. I can't believe what you say. You say you believe, you trust, you hope, you support, you welcome, you include. But I can't believe what you say because I see what you do. You say you love all people, yet when I say Black Lives Matter, when I say all Black Lives Matter, all, meaning all Black lives, all Black gay lives, all Black trans lives, all Black lives, Indigenous lives, like all people of color, when I say that, you come back with the retort of, but we are all one, and in this movement, in this teaching, God is love, and all lives matter. I can't believe what you say because I see what you do. If we are going to be about this teaching, if we are going to be about what religious science is, science of mind and spirit, then it comes down to recognizing that it greatly behooves us to walk the walk. Because when we revisit the words of William Toms, be careful how you live. You may be the only Bible that some person ever reads. And yet I say, be careful how you live. You may be the only science of mind text that some person ever reads. You may be the only person that someone meets who recognizes their divinity, who understands how divine and precious and magnificent they are. You may be the only person that they meet who knows that truth for them, about them. Are you carrying the responsibility of what this means? Are you willing to speak up and speak out so that every person whose path you cross, every opportunity that you have to speak truth, every mode and method of communication that we listed, verbally, sign, text, typed, sung, emailed, decorated, that every manner of ways that we can communicate, that we are in alignment, recognizing that what we say matters. That what we say when we show up in a space matters. That when we log on to Facebook, how we show up matters. Because our silence, in many instances, is betrayal. Now, understand that there are times when we are called to be silent and called to listen. But we very well mostly know the difference when this is the time for me to be silent and listen. Practitioners, silence when someone comes to pray. And we listen to them. We listen to everything that they are saying and everything that they are showing us. We listen. Consciously, actively listen. And then we speak. When one of my children is venting, I listen. I take it in. I let them say everything they need to say in whatever words they need to say it in. I don't censor them. I don't correct them. I let them. And I simply hold the space. And sometimes they don't want anything back from me. They just needed someone to hear them. They needed a safe space. They needed a safe container where they could unload this and be free of it. And sometimes that is all I am called to do. Be the container. Take it. And transcend it for them. Help them do that. But sometimes at the end they ask, Dad, what do you think I should do? And then from that place of having listened, that place of having grounded myself, I offer them whatever it is that I feel from that place of truth. Sometimes it's very scary to speak up and speak out. Audre Lorde says, I have come to believe over and over again that what is most important to me must be spoken, must be made verbal and shared, even at the risk of having it bruised or misunderstood. There are times we're going to post something on Facebook. There are times when the spiritual leader of CSL, Reverend Dr. Edward Fillion, is going to share something about Black Lives Matter, and someone in the movement is going to be bruised by those words, going to be bruised by our post, misunderstand our statement. Does that mean we shouldn't still speak up? Does that mean we shouldn't still speak out? No. Regardless of how it's received or how it's twisted, it is ours to call forth. So the question is, what does your communication say? What does every one of your forms of communication say about what you believe? What does every one of your forms of communication say about what science of mind and spirit is? What does it say what it means to be in spiritual community at CSL Greater Baltimore? To be in the United States? To be on the planet? What is your communication saying? For example, are you eco-friendly? Because if you're not eco-friendly and you litter or you disregard recycling or whatever, what is that saying about what you believe, what you are communicating about the planet? Do you not care? Are you apathetic? Are you not invested? But what does it say? What are you communicating? What does every one of your forms of communication say about what you support? What you are willing to tolerate or accept? What is it saying about who you are and who you are always ever becoming? We think that sometimes it's just, I'm going to just throw this shirt on, or I'm going to just, this old thing, But there's never such a thing as just, whatever it is we're throwing on. In the same way that there's no such thing as a simple hello. Because I can say hello, 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 hello. I can say the one word several different ways, and it conveys several different things. It's communicating several different things. So the word is not simply just a word. because the word is always backed by what I'm communicating through the word. How many times, raise your hand, Tracy's looking at the screen on Zoom. Raise your hand if you have ever heard me say this in this way. Merry Christmas? What am I conveying? I'm saying, Merry Christmas, Merry Christmas. But it's a question, meaning I don't understand, I don't get it. Or, what are you talking about? What do you mean? But I'm saying, Merry Christmas. You see, the words convey a certain thing, but what am I communicating through and back of the words is far more important. Because I've even done that with people who don't know me. I've gone to the store and it slipped out because Ray is Ray wherever Ray goes. So I was in Target one time and walked up to somebody and I was asking them to help me find something, and they took me to the aisle, and they said something, and I turned to them and said, Merry Christmas? And she laughed, but she answered the question. How did she know to answer the question, which was, say that again? Because she felt behind the words, Merry Christmas. What do you mean? Say that again? She felt my communication. It's important for us to recognize that we are always communicating. God as us is always communicating. Every breath is communicating. Every word is communicating. Every article of clothing is communicating. Don't act like, and I'm sorry, don't act like some of y'all ain't got fancy underwear on that most people ain't gonna see, but you know. And you know how it feels to wear that special pair of Superman boxer briefs that ain't nobody seeing, but you're still communicating something nonetheless. Tracy's giving me this confused look, but nonetheless.
Because I don't see you on here, that's why.
So anyhow.
Hopefully everybody still see you.
Yeah, hopefully everybody still see me. Tracy says she can't see me, so hopefully y'all can still see me. I don't know. So Harvey Milk, because keep in mind this is Pride Month, Harvey Milk said hope will frozen. Never be silent.
Someone said you're frozen.
Someone said I'm frozen?
Video locked, but they still, okay, video locked. Oops, sorry, I didn't mean
Please hold on for a moment. Technical difficulties.
Sorry, I'm moving too fast. Okay, so somehow the video froze. I'm unplugging.
Okay. Back in. Technical difficulties. So those of you who are on YouTube and Facebook Live, just hold on a second while we reacclimate ourselves to technology.
Okay. So the video is muted. There you go.
Just talk amongst yourselves for a
second.
second.
You go.
I'm back.
Somehow, yeah.
Okay, that's fine. So moving on. So as I was saying, I don't know where I froze or when I froze, but we're going to move on to this idea that Harvey Milk said, hope will never be silent. So pause for a moment and just ask yourself, what does that mean to you? Hope will never be silent. Hope will never be silent. This does not mean that hope cannot come forth in silent moments or that silence is not a healthy part of mindful speech or communication. For to get to a place of mindful communication, we must also be mindful listeners, which is what I alluded to before. Mindful listeners to ourselves and others. And the silence. It's possible that what Harvey Milk was saying is that when we silence ourselves or silence others, not much gets to be born. When we silence ourselves or silence others, not much gets to be born, gets to be birthed, gets to be created, gets to evolve or transform or transcend. Inner and outer transformation is born through intentional language/communication. Intentional communication is what births this. What we say to ourselves, what we build with others, and what we say out broadly to the world in all of the ways that we communicate is how we demonstrate and manifest this thing called the world that works for all. This is why it's important to be mindful, recognizing, what did it say? In the beginning was the Word, and the Word was made flesh. The Word was with God, and the Word was God. You are the very embodiment of the Word of God made flesh. That everything about us is Spirit saying something to itself, through itself, about itself, back unto itself in every interaction. Not just interactions with other people, but how we interact with our homes. Because the house is alive. If the house is made of God, every molecule, every atom is imbued with spirit, it is spirit, then the house is alive. The house is an embodiment of God. The house is also the body, the temple of the living spirit. So is the car, so is the bike, so is the motorcycle, so is the office, the desk, the laptop, the camera. It's all God, and how we interact. There are some people who honor and deeply respect holy books, the Torah, the Quran, and we bow before them and we recognize them, we respect them. But do we do the same thing when it comes to our own property, our clothing, our dishes, our money? Do we disregard it like, it's just a wallet, it's just money, it's just a shoe? Recognizing that there is no such thing as just that everything is God. Everything is imbued by, with, through, and the very living Spirit. If you don't know this song, I strongly encourage you to go Google it, research it, and listen to a full rendition of it. This song is commonly referred to as the Negro National Anthem. Lift every voice and sing till earth and heaven ring. Ring with the harmonies of liberty. Let our rejoicing rise high as the listening skies. Let it resound loud as the rolling sea. Sing a song full of the faith that the dark past has taught us. Sing a song full of the hope that the present has brought us, facing the rising sun of a new day begun. Let us march on till victory is won. Let us march on until a world that works for all is won. Until it is exactly what we have. Until it is one, O-N-E. Let us march on until the idea of oneness, infinite power, and unity is the realized expression of who and what we are. Let us march on. Let us lift every voice and sing as part of our marching. Let it ring with the harmonies of justice and liberty. Let it resound loud and as powerfully as the rolling sea. Because if we're not, then our silence is betrayal. We are betraying this power called love. We are betraying this vision called a world that works for all. We are betraying whatever brother, sister that we claim to love, be they brown, be they black, be they gay, be they straight, be they trans, be they Jewish, be they Christian, be they Catholic, that our silence is betrayal. Remember what I said before, Audre Lorde reminds us, when we speak, we are afraid of our words. When we speak, we are afraid our words will not be heard or welcomed. But when we are silent, we are still afraid, so it is better to speak. If you're going to be afraid either way, then why not speak? If you're going to be afraid that what you have to say is not going to be received or welcomed when you say Black Lives Matter, say it anyway, recognizing that your words are powerful. What Deletta's saying, our words, our thoughts are shifting the atmosphere. Our prayers and our actions are shifting the atmosphere. Our love and our kindness is healing the atmosphere. Everything that we are and all the ways that we show up is either betraying the atmosphere or healing and shifting and transcending and evolving the very atmosphere of all that is. So if you're ready, your call to action this week, your homework, just meditate on, journal, contemplate the idea. What do you communicate by what you wear? What is your clothing, your manner of dress? What does it say about who you are being? What do you communicate by what you actively say? Whether it's verbally, signed, typed, text, what are you saying? And what do you communicate by the way that you show up? When you walk into a room, do people say, "Oh yeah," or "Oh no, oh I gotta go, I didn't know they were invited"? Like, what are you laughing about? Tracy over there giggling. What do you communicate by the way that you show up? What is one thing that you are afraid to speak up about? Like there's that family member, uncle somebody or cousin somebody who tells the racist joke or the homophobic joke or the something joke that we want to say something about that we don't. What is one thing that you are afraid to ask someone? You don't want to ask them because you don't want to maybe offend them. You don't want to ask them because you're not sure how they're going to hear the question, so I'd rather not ask. What is one thing? What could your life look like or be like if all of your communication was in alignment? And what does it mean to you to be the voice of God made flesh? That everything that you do and every way that you show up is God expressing itself, God communicating itself to all of the other ways that God shows up. What could change if we recognized my words, my thoughts, my prayers, my clothing, my habits, my tendencies, what I eat, what I drink, all of this is communicating something about what God is as me. And we breathe. Today's affirmation for this week, I'll say it first, and then if you feel so inspired, say it with. When we communicate, we express and call life into being as each divine word is anchored in and expressed from love, oneness, peace, and well-being for ourselves and all living things. Together, when we communicate, we express and call life into being as each divine word is anchored in and expressed from love, oneness, peace, and well-being for ourselves and all living things. And we breathe. We breathe and clear the space and clear the stage for the wonderfully talented Deletta Gillespie as she comes to grace us with her beauty, voice, and majesty. Ashe.
I need you, you need me. We are a part of God's body. Stand with me, agree with me. We're all a part of God's body. It is God's will that every need be supplied. You are important to me. I need you to survive. You are important to me. I need you to survive. I need you. You need me. We are a part of God's body. Stand with me. Agree with me. We're all a part of God's body. It is God's will that every need be supplied. You are important to me. I need you to survive. You are important to me. I need you to survive. I pray for you. You pray for me. I love you. I need you to survive. I won't harm you with words from my mouth. I love you. I need you to survive. It is God's will that every need be supplied. You are important to me. I need you to survive. You are important to me. I need you to survive. Oh, I pray for you. You pray for me. I love you. I need you to survive. I won't harm you with words from my mouth. I love you. I need you to survive. I pray for you. You pray for me. I love you. I need you to survive. I won't harm you with words from my mouth. I love you. I need you to survive. I pray for you. You pray for me. I love you. I need you to survive. I won't harm you with words from my mouth. I love you. I need you to survive. I pray for you. You pray for me. I love you. I need you to survive. I won't harm you with words from my mouth. I love you. I need you to survive. I pray for you. You pray for me. I love you. I need you to survive. I won't harm you with words from my mouth. I love you. I need you to survive. I pray for you. You pray for me. I love you. I need you to survive. I won't harm you with words from my mouth. I love you. I need you to survive.
Put your hands together. Am I there? Am I there, Tracy?
You're on, and I'm going back to the screen sharing.
Yeah, just
You go
make
ahead.
sure
You
that
start.
they can hear me and they can see me.
They should be able to hear and see you, sir.
So put your hands together once again for Deletta Gillespie. Thank you. As always, Deletta, beautiful. Thank you so very much. Perfect space to enter into this idea of what it means to give consciously. Keeping in mind that there are multiple ways that this can be done. You can give via PayPal, you can give via text by phone, or text to phone, phone to text. Use your phone, you can text a payment. Or regular snail mail. You can send Sue, our treasurer, a check or money order, or you can put cash in a briefcase and send it to her. I don't think she would mind.
All ways are accepted.
Yes, and for more information, feel free to go to our website,
.org.
.org. I'm just /giving. Keeping in mind that what we are giving for is we are investing in all that this beloved community is. We're investing in everything from a new space and all of the things that a new space can afford us the ability to do. Offer classes, have a music ministry, a youth ministry, have windows and light and plants and so much more so that this teaching and who we are as a center and a beloved community can then do what we are here to do. Shining and showing out our divine magnificence so that other people may also know their own divine magnificence and who and what they are as the living spirit made flesh, as the one, as the thing itself, the one life, the one mind, given human form as it lives, moves, and breathes and has its beingness as each person. And recognizing that all that is donated, all that is tithed, all that is sown into the rich and fertile soil is received, is appreciated, and cycles back as we declare our prosperity declaration together. I joyfully, consciously, and gratefully participate in the law of circulation. I trust in the spiritual principle that says, as I sow into my beloved community, I demonstrate my awareness of standing not only in the flow, but as the flow itself. As I sow of myself, my time, my treasure, my talent, I demonstrate my support and engagement in my community's vision, mission, and purpose. I actively give as a demonstration of manifesting, of reaping the harvest of a world that works for all. And just quickly, because I know that there are moments when we are not sure who we are, what we are as people who practice religious science, science of mind and spirit, let us just remember that science of mind, this practice, is a synthesis based on the truth which arises in every culture, in the laws of science, opinions of philosophy, the revelations of religion as they are applied to human needs. Simply anchor that in. Because it is important to, once again, recognize that what we are communicating in who we are, in what we teach, and how we show up, is this philosophy, this teaching, this spiritual path. So it's important to know what that spiritual path is. So breathe and just anchor that in. And if you ever want a copy of anything that I show, remember, just email me and I'll make sure you get it. That way, if you want the whole slide, the whole thing, you have it.
Come on.
So as we prepare to end service, and we prepare to go out into the day and greet and meet and bless all ways and everyone that we see and everyone that sees us.
On this awesome Father's Day.
Just remember, yes, on this awesome Father's Day, just remember that if you, like me, have a Father who already has transcended, and made their transition into life after life. Love is eternal, infinite, and ever-expanding consciousness. That he's not dead, nor is he lost. I know exactly where he is. I know what he is. And so I still send blessings and much gratitude to him and all fathers who are on the other side of life after life. And so I encourage all of us, greet and bless all of the fathers and father figures. And if that's yourself, then bless yourself today.
Come on.
Show yourself how much you appreciate yourself as you go out and enjoy this beautiful day. Or as you bring your own beauty to the day wherever you are. Make today awesome and great.
Yes.
And remember, if you would like a practitioner to pray with you at the end of service, please enter the word prayer in the chat box and stay on the line. We're going to stay open for a moment just so everybody can say, hey, what's up? How are you? Haven't seen you, didn't see you. Where were you? We had movies yesterday. Where were you? Like, just so you can meet and greet everybody. And breakout rooms will be made for those who want prayer. So please indicate that. That being the end, I simply want to anchor in recognizing that in this moment we breathe consciously. In this moment we step into and recognize that all that we are is the very intention of God made flesh. And that in all of the forms that we communicate, all of the ways that we communicate and allow the very voice of creation itself to speak in, through, and as us, we understand that this divine call, this divine clarion call, makes us harbingers of peace and love and joy and magnificence as we usher into what it means to live in a world that works for all. Knowing that this is so, we surrendered into the law and let it be what it is, oh so magnificently. And together we declare this by saying, and so it is.
And so it is.
Namaste and blessings all. See you soon.